There's 9 huge trends that you need to know about as an agent going into 2025. Let's break them down right now. What is up, guys? Welcome to episode 362 of the Massive Agent Podcast. I am your host, Dustin Brohm, here in Salt Lake City, Utah, and we are getting dangerously close to the end of 2024. This actually comes out on Thanksgiving. Yeah, so happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope you're enjoying some time with your family and friends and getting a nap in, which doesn't usually happen for agents except for Thanksgiving and maybe Christmas. So take advantage while you can. So because we're dangerously close to the end of the year, there's some stuff you need to know about. 2025 is fast approaching. We're just basically a month out. And I believe 2025 is going to be a much stronger, much better year for most agents. I think most agents believe 2025 is going to be better. And if you look at the data, if you look at the stats, 2024 was rough for a lot of agents. There were so few home sales. Like I think it's don't quote me on this. Like I'm not a reporter, right? But I believe as many homes were sold in 2024 as in 1995. Like we're doing like 1995 home sales in 2024. So yeah, if your numbers went down, if you didn't sell as many homes as in 23, welcome to the club. You know, it's okay. It's the rising tide lifts all ships. What's the opposite of rising tide? Lowering tide? Sinking tide? Going down tide? The going down tide. That sounds awful. The tide going down. What's the opposite of, holy shit, what's the opposite of this? Of a rising tide lifts all ships. A lowering tide drops all ships. You guys get the point. So it's not necessarily because you suck or anything like that. Now, I'm sure you've learned a lot, and I'm sure you've made some improvements. And so going into next year, there will be more home sales. I'm going to go over some trends that I think you should be very optimistic about. Some of them are related to the market. Some are related to social media and what you should be doing and what's working on social media now and into 2025. I'll talk about some technologies that I think are coming that will be a big deal and very disruptive to real estate in a good way and potentially a bad way. We'll talk about buyer broker agreements and some other things. So let's get into the 9 huge 2025 trends that you need to know about as an agent. Number 1, let's talk market conditions, right? Interest rates. We thought that in 2024, interest rates would drop dramatically. Did they? No, they did not. No, they did not. So I believe rates will shrink a little bit because I believe we'll be able to get inflation under control. However, I don't think interest rates, let's just say that they stay right where they're at, like 6.5%, right? Depending on when you're looking at it and all that. But 6.5% is where they stay. Let's say that the end of 2025, they're the same. Is that the end of the world? No. Here's why. The election is now behind us. There is so much economic optimism now after the election because of the election results, because of the incoming Trump administration. There's just a ton of economic optimism, which should lead to economic growth. Now that people have clarity on, what the rules are going to be and who's leading the country and all that, I've already heard more buyers jumping off the fence and getting into the game. More sellers are planning on jumping off the fence and getting their home on the market. So I believe that will accelerate, especially after we get through the holidays into the beginning of the year. So that's a good thing. But what about economic growth? So this is a big thing, right? Interest rates, even if they stay the same, I believe that we could potentially see economic growth unlike anything we've seen in decades in this country. So I don't know how closely you pay attention, and I pay close enough attention, just enough to be dangerous. But I know that Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk are now co-chairing this Department of Government Efficiency, the DOGE, the Doge, and which is hilarious. If you're into crypto, you know why. Their whole goal is to cut government spending, is to cut out the waste, cut out the bullshit, cut out the irresponsible insanity that happens at a massive scale to the tune of potentially trillions of dollars, their job is to cut it out and to get rid of it and potentially shut down entire government departments, which is crazy. And some people think, well, that's just going to create a ton of unemployment, possibly. But those people are probably going to go get a job, right? Some of them may start businesses. Some of them may. So it may cause a temporary issue with unemployment, but is the unemployment number the only thing that matters? Of course not. What could happen if government spending is cut dramatically and all this waste is cut dramatically, and it empowers the private sector to invest more, to start more businesses, to do more investment into new products and services? If what I think will happen does happen over the next, this obviously won't happen all in 2025, but it'll start. If Wall Street, if Silicon Valley, if Main Street, if consumers in general believe that, hey, this economy is moving in the right direction, they feel more confident about their ability to make more money, to save more money, to invest and have their investments do well, they're going to be more active. It's going to light the economy on fire. That is so good for what we do because it's good for consumers. It's good for buyers. It's good for sellers. If people have more means and resources to get into real estate and then maybe to upsize if they've been stuck in this house that's too small and they need to get a bigger one, if they feel more optimistic about the future of their career and their finances, they're probably going to be much more willing to make that next step versus to sit there and just deal with their small house. So long story short, there's a ton of optimism around the economy that will only help our industry. It'll only help home sales, regardless what interest rates do. So I'm optimistic. And if we see rates come down in tandem with a ton of economic growth, I mean, we could see home sales go through the freaking roof, and that could be exciting. Number two, teams are much more important than they ever have been. Teams, real estate sales teams, will gain importance and power more than ever. I believe teams are more powerful than they've ever been. They are the best place for a new agent to start out, right? We're going to see a ton of new agents come into the industry, as we always do. And I absolutely believe that for most agents who are brand new to the industry, unless you are a certain type of person, and I'll explain what I mean by that, I believe most agents should start out with a great team. And because of that, because teams already have the system figured out, they already have processes, they already have, so you could take a new agent, plug them into the system, and as long as they are willing to take action and follow the steps in front of them, they're not having to recreate the wheel. They don't have to reinvent anything. Like, it's already been done. The system's already there. You just plug a new agent into it, and as long as they're going to do shit, as long as they take action, that agent can see success and get into production faster than on their own. I firmly believe that. So now, not all teams, because some teams suck and don't have great systems in place and all that. But I'm talking about great real estate sales teams that have great systems, that have a great process that you can plug into and get into production faster than you ever could on your own. The brand new agents that I think could have a chance at really seeing success solo, if you get into the industry, you have a massive sphere of influence, and you have a ton of credibility with those people. It's not just enough to know people, but you need to be known by them, and they need to see you as credible and likable and memorable. So if you were, I know this sounds bad, but it is what it is. If you were super popular in high school and you've maintained that popularity, and that level of credibility with your sphere, you have a much better chance of starting out hot in real estate if you have a great training system and support system to help you do it. But I believe teams are more important and powerful than ever, and I think that will only accelerate as we move forward. Number three, your ability to scale. Your ability as an agent and or team leader and or business owner. Here's what I want you to understand, right? This has been the case for a long time, but it's more true today. It's more true going into 2025 than ever. Any struggles that you're having, any issues that you're running up against, any ceilings that you're hitting, any roadblocks that you keep hitting, you're simply having people problems, or really a lack of people problem. Sometimes if you already have people, if you already have a staff, maybe you have the wrong people. But for most of you, you keep like you're not growing the way that you should and you stay stuck because it's a people problem. You need people into your business to take some of the work off of your plate. They're going to do it better than you can. And that frees your time up to do more income producing activities, to do what actually moves the needle, what actually brings in business, what actually brings in revenue and leads to sales in your business. For some of you, that's doing content. For some of you, it's networking. For some of you, it's email marketing. Maybe for you, it's setting up Facebook ads. You all have different strengths and weaknesses and zones of brilliance, if you will. So if you are struggling to scale, if you're struggling to if you're stuck, you have a people problem, a lack of people problem, and you need to hire great people to help you build what you want to build. That's it. That's it. Look at all your problems. Look at everything you're struggling with. If you had someone great to take it off your plate, wouldn't it get done and wouldn't it no longer be a problem? 99% of the time, the answer is yes. So you need people. Your problems are people related. Number 4, social media trends, right? I believe that followers are less important than ever before. Going into 2025, followers are just becoming less and less important by the day. Why? Because of how the algorithms work now. The way that the algorithms worked years ago is, you'd want a ton of followers because let's say you have 1,000 followers. The way all these algorithms worked was so you post something, it would then show it to a certain percentage or a small group of your followers. So let's say these are all hypothetical, just so you can wrap your head around the concept. So if you have 1,000 followers, you make a post, let's say it shows it to 25 of those 1,000. And now of those 25, if it performs well, if people engage with it, if they watch it, right, then it's going to go, okay, let's show it to more than 25. Maybe let's show it to 100 now. And it continues to go outwards. It doesn't just show it to all 1,000 followers. Those days are like 10 years ago, right? That hasn't happened in a long ass time. So the more followers you had, the more people would see your content, the better it would do, right? For the most part. But that's changed. It's now a meritocracy. So of course, yes, you do want more followers, obviously. However, it's almost an equal playing field now where if you do really good stuff, you could have your content seen by and engaged with by more people than someone who has 100,000 followers. You could have 400 followers and your content could get more views and more engagement than someone with 100,000 followers. If it's better, more interesting, more engaging stuff. So I want you to focus on this. Focus on authenticity and interesting. Is what you're putting out interesting? Does it grab attention? Do people find it interesting? It's not more complicated than that. Is it interesting? Is what you're saying delivered in a way that grabs someone's attention? Do they find it interesting? Is it delivered with energy and passion? Or is it kind of boring? And are you just, you know what I'm talking about here. So authenticity and interesting will beat polished and produced 100% of the time. Authenticity and interesting will beat polished and produced. That's what you need to be focused on, and stop worrying so much about how many followers you have, because if you put out great stuff, your following will grow because the algorithm will push it out to more people, and that's how you obviously grow a following, an authentic, organic following. Number 5, in 2025, I believe blockchain technology comes roaring back in real estate. So transaction processes can be fixed and improved by and sped up by blockchain. Blockchain technology, right? I'm not talking about cryptocurrency or buying real estate with crypto. It's not what I'm talking about. The technology foundation, blockchain, it can make the real estate transaction faster, safer, and much less expensive, like dramatically faster, much safer, much more transparent, and much less expensive. Isn't that a good thing? Of course. So we can speed up and improve and make cheaper the whole process around the transaction. Transferring title, right? We can make it a lot safer. And blockchain could disrupt a ton of the traditional methods around how we do things. Now, the reason I believe blockchain will come roaring back is ever since the Trump election, we've seen crypto it's just on fire. Blockchain is is flirting with $100,000, and there's a ton of interest again in crypto that will that resurgence of attention in crypto has more eyeballs, has more talent flocking to that technology. And some of that will be like, hey, this technology could be used to solve this problem. This technology could be used for that problem. And so I believe that a lot of projects that maybe got shelved or pushed to the back burner when crypto just tanked, I think a lot of those will come roaring back now that there's a renewed intention and now that there's renewed attention and excitement behind cryptocurrency and blockchain. Number 6, the Department of Justice, right? I believe they've had a hard on for the real estate industry. Even though these lawsuits, the class action lawsuits, were not from the government. I'm trying to decide how, if I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on. My black hat, I think, is good for today. So I'm not going to put the tinfoil hat on. I believe that moving forward, since we have a new administration coming in that is much more business friendly, it's just a much more business friendly administration. As long as we put the right butts in the right seats within the Department of Justice, I think they're going to back the hell off of trying to attack this industry, because the Department of Justice has been hell-bent on attacking this industry, which is wild that they're so focused on agents making less money when they're totally fine with the trial lawyers, the attorneys, the class action attorneys, making 30 to 40% for these class action lawsuits. Because that's what they're making, right? 30 to 40% is their commission. That's totally fine. But of course, if you look at campaign contributions and all of that, it all becomes clear. I told you I wouldn't put my tinfoil hat on, but here we are. I don't even think it's tinfoil hat shit. I think this stuff's pretty obvious. So the Department of Justice under the current administration is on its way out. I believe the next version of the DOJ will be much more business friendly and housing and real estate friendly. And I think that's a good thing for our industry and for buyers and sellers, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. There's a lot that we do right. Of course, there's always stuff we can improve on. Absolutely. Of course, there's always bad actors, of course. But for the most part, we have great people. We have great processes that are the way they are for a reason, because they work. The incentives in this industry work. And I'm hopeful that the next version of the DOJ will understand that and leave us the hell alone. Number 7, buyer broker agreements, I don't think are going anywhere. There was talk from the DOJ just earlier this week that they don't think the buyer broker agreements that are mandatory now as a result of the NAR settlements, they didn't like that. The DOJ is saying, well, actually, we don't like the buyer broker agreements. They're not going anywhere. Buyer broker agreements are good for buyers. They're good for sellers. They're good for the agents. They're good for everybody when everyone's role is laid out in black and white. With so much on the line in these transactions, you need some sort of buyer broker agreement. Most states require it anyways. I think the issue is just when they're introduced. So making it mandatory as a result of the NAR settlement, making buyer broker agreements mandatory before a home is shown, I think is a little heavy-handed. I see there's some value in it. There's some merit in it, but it also creates some issues. But the way that it's always been in Utah anyways, in the 14 years that I've been selling real estate, we've required buyer broker agreements, but we would wait until we had like a significant moment in the relationship, and definitely before an offer is written. Like if a buyer's going to write an offer, at the latest, we would do the buyer broker agreement then. But usually it's not like, hey, I know we just met 5 seconds ago. Here, sign this contract. Like that's obviously there's ways around it. Obviously there's scripting and there's touring agreements that aren't so damn, scary. But yeah. But there's been talk of buyer broker agreements going away and being removed again. I don't think that's going to happen. They're a good thing for everybody. Get used to them. You already are. So, there may be some tweaks to the timing on when they're used, but they're not going anywhere. Trend number 8. Technology and AI will help agents' productivity go through the roof, right? Because of AI, because of certain technology tools and software and SaaS, agents will be getting more done in less time. This is happening already. You should be getting more done in less time already. If you use ChatGPT, if you use some of these other tools, CRMs, automating some of your marketing, especially around email and drip campaigns, and keeping up with your database, you should already be using that. But as AI and technology continues to just compound and get better and better and better and better and faster and willing or able to do more, as long as you're up to date on that shit, you're going to be able to do more in less time. So your ability to scale will go through the roof. You'll be much more productive in the same amount of time. And I am for that. If you can do more in less time, that means you can make more money in less time. I am here for that. Number 9, the solution is always getting really good at defining your value and packaging it up. Here's what I mean by that. Before the NAR settlement, right? Not all states used buyer broker agreements, right? Now we do. Now everybody does. We all have the same rules across the country. But there were a lot of people freaking out because it was a disruption to the way you used to do things. And over time, right, you got used to it. You made some tweaks, you practiced, and you realized, okay, cool, like I could do business this way. The solution to that disruption, the solution to, oh shit, we got to like upend everything and do things a different way, and the solution to getting your buyer to pay you what you charge for your services has always been, you've got to do a really good job of selling your value and packaging up that value so that a buyer's like, yep, I want that, I'll pay you for it. That's always been the solution. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, that's always been the solution. And no matter what changes or little tweaks happen in our industry with the processes and with how things are done and which documents are included, it's always going to be the solution. So get really freaking good at defining your value. Why should someone hire you? What are they going to get? And then learn how to package it up, put some marketing on it, make it look nice, sell it to them in a way that they're like, ooh, I understand that. That looks really valuable. I want that. So yep, I'm going to hire you as my agent. How much do you charge? Okay, sounds good. That's the solution. So thank you for listening this week. I hope you're excited about 2025 because I sure as hell am. And one thing, there's a couple tools that you absolutely need moving into 2025. Number one, keeping current matters, because we don't know what's happening with interest rates, the economy. We think it's going to come roaring back. There's so many things happening. You need to keep your finger on the pulse, but you have a real estate business to run. You have clients to service. You have marketing to do and all the stuff. So the easy button is just to use KCM, use Keeping Current Matters. Go to trykcm.com/BAM and try them out for free today and find out why so many I'm going to go out on a limb and say damn near all of the highest selling agents in your market are all already using Keeping Current Matters. It's just having economists in your back pocket, basically on staff, telling you, here's what's happening, here's what it means. Here's what you should be telling your buyers. Here's how you should be advising your sellers for a few dollars a month. Go to trykcm.com/BAM. And then you need to be around great agents you need to have a network of great agents that are doing big shit, that are making changes with you, that have already figured stuff out that you're trying to figure out. And I highly recommend the BAMx community. Go to nowbam.com, check out BAMx. Not only do they have an incredible community and referral network, but their online courses and trainings and masterminds are incredible value. And save yourself some money when you join. Just use code MASSIVE at checkout and save yourself some money. I appreciate you listening. Thank you so much. If you have not yet left a review on Spotify or Pocket Casts or Apple, please do. Let me know how you like the podcast. Let me know what you like about it. And if you found value in this episode, please consider sharing it with your team leader, your broker, some agents you're friends with, some other agents in your office. I'd appreciate it. Help us to reach more agents because agents need a lifeline. I believe this podcast is just that. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys next week.